So there's been a lot of reviews saying that this is either peak cinema, Sam Raimi has returned, / this is the worst, wokest, dumbest movie ever made. But as always, the truth is somewhere in the middle, but maybe slightly above that, because like it's not a 5. It's a pretty decent movie.
It's a nice, comfortable 4 stars.
I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I liked a lot of it, and I get what it's doing.
Yep.
But there's also a lot it's lacking, and I think we both agree it played it safe.
I think that's it.
But I don't want to give it points for playing it safe either.
And also the importance of this film, it's like they are trying to engineer the equivalent of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like the original Iron Man of like, they're booing up something that they want to at least have a roadmap for the next decade of films.
Yeah, it has to start a whole universe called the DCU, but also they don't want to spend all of the time, but they know they can't just do Justice League and suddenly like, hey, here are all those characters that we're making movies about.
Exactly.
Because this doesn't really expand the universe so much as let you know that there is a universe that is there.
It's not even Warner Brothers. It's a sub-studio of Warner Brothers, DC Studios. And he is, with the other guy, the head of this studio. I think we both agree that we liked the film. I think this film had a lot of nice moments that I'm not the biggest Superman fan in the world, but I do really enjoy the character. Stuff that I was really happy to see on screen. I think everybody is cast really well.
Yep, I agree.
Nicholas Hoult simply does not miss. He's wonderful as Lex Luthor, even if the script doesn't give him the most deepest thing ever.
And I think we can say that about everyone. There's not enough of people in this movie, which is weird because the movie doesn't ever break. We're constantly doing stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still no room for getting deeper into these characters.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who Superman is apart from he's a nice guy?
I would really like to see what David Coenswet Superman's like after just watching 2 hours of it.
Yeah.
Which is really dumb to say.
I had the thought about halfway through the movie that this felt like a really good episode of a Superman show. Because I need to have already known who this Superman is, and then you start off the episode with the cold open that is in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, that he crashes into the ice. So like that's your cold opening for that episode of Superman.
Yeah.
And then I get a pretty good hour. And then I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the finale next week.
Yes. It's a film that wants to play it safe. You can just tell watching it. They wanted a film to come in at 2 hours. They didn't want it to be too long to scare people. And they wanted it to just be fun for kids. I definitely think there's an idea that you're forgetting that there's a whole market of like 8 to 13-year-olds that don't really know Superman the same way they know Iron Man or Thor or any of these people.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that they're hitting that audience.
I don't know if I would say this is a good introduction to Superman. If you're a kid and you're 7, you've never seen Superman because we haven't had one since Man of Steel. We don't even have a current cartoon, really.
We have the My Adventure Superman, which is very good, and I recommend it.
Is that based at our age? I can't tell. I've never watched it. But
It's for like, kids can enjoy it, but then also adults can enjoy it too.
For the most part, there isn't like a definitive Superman that you can move in. Whereas for the Avengers, for the MCU, they constantly had Iron Man through the Avengers Assemble show. They always had a Spider-Man show going. They had a much better pathway to guide you into it. And also, all of their superheroes start from the beginning. The one I will compare it to is Homecoming, because James Gunn made a big deal of not wanting to show the pearls in the alley with Batman or the Krypton explode. Whereas with Homecoming, they dance around that really well for me. Whereas this one, they thought they could get away with some title crawls at the start that basically just say 3 years ago this, 30,000 years ago this, 3 minutes ago this. And it's not bad, but I do hate when a movie needs to start with exposition. It feels like we're lacking and they had to put that in.
I just felt that assumption that you all know Superman, right? It was the same problem in some ways I had with the Zack Snyder version, where Zack Snyder was just going, what if Superman did this, right? It's like, well, I don't care about this version of Superman yet. And this version, I left going, I like this Superman, but it was more, I'm keen to see more of this guy, rather than I'm already in love. Like, it's not like with Tony Stark, with Iron Man, where you're like, oh, this guy's awesome, can't wait, I already love this guy.
Yeah. There is no status quo for this movie that isn't him being Superman.
I think that was the most surprising thing. I wonder if there's just on the cutting room floor, because, mad spoilers, this film just begins.
Yeah.
I wanted there to be just 5 minutes before that of just like, it felt like just traditional Superman, where like it's Clark, Dreamer's Lane and all that stuff, and then we pull out. I'm amazed that there was no like pulling of the shirt.
Yeah, there's no suit up.
There's no suit up.
There's realistically only 5 minutes of Clark.
Well, there's only the one bit with Glasses Clark that you see in the trailer, but there seems to be this attempt of maybe he's forward planning James Gunn, where he's like, we're going to have like 5 films with David Corenswet as Superman.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get bogged down in origin stuff here. It will just feel like another Superman film in 20 years when you're digging through the box or streaming. You're like, oh, I'll just put on a Superman film.
And it could be the fact that DC has greenlit those 5 movies because, like, they made 3 failed Snyder movies.
Somehow.
They're going to do it anyway. The superhero craze will not die. They're going to put these movies out anyway. They might as well have a plan in place, and a more solid plan than Marvel that just announces side character movies.
The plan seems to be one good film at a time.
Yeah, so maybe that's what they're doing, and he's able to. So maybe in 10 years, we'll be like, holy shit, David Corenswet, easily the best Superman. Yeah. But at the moment, I'm just like, he's a nice guy, and I like how human he is.
Yes, I'm seeing the potential here with this guy. It's great to see Superman and actually like check in on people. Like when he pushes the kaiju back, he turns around and goes, "We all good?" And everyone goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Good," and then flies off. I thought, oh, that's Superman. Like that felt right to me.
Yes, there are a few parts of the movie that do get a bit hokey for me. I'm not a big fan of hope will make everything better. So like I hate the end of The Batman where they're like, you're not the Batman, you're a symbol. And then everyone's like, woo, Batman. I'm like,
Well, Superman can be that. He's allowed.
That's what they want him to be.
I'm a big Batman fan. But even then, the Batman, at least, even though we don't get the pearls and we don't get all that, it does still do more of a better job at here's where Bruce is and here's what Bruce is trying to do. And this film is trying to, and is technically doing this with Clark, but it's not nearly as much as a focus as just let's get to the next big beat. Like, and that seems to be the film's big focus. It wants you to just have a fun time for 2 hours. The film feels like that to me. It doesn't want to challenge you or challenge itself too much.
Yes, but I think unfortunately the highs of this movie don't get very high. It's a very mid
It's a continuous, like, there's no big peak moments.
Yeah, it doesn't build so much either. It is just like there's stuff happening constantly.
Exactly, which is fine. And to keep it non-spoilery, I felt the Gunnisms were held back all right. I didn't think there was too many, like...
In a safe way.
Yeah, because some of the things I heard, I kept hearing like, oh, there's a lot of like James Gunn moments, so I went in expecting a lot of it.
I don't know what dog you're talking about.
Make sure you subscribe to Bergenbeard, Superman.
What did you say?
The last thing I'll say is that there are a lot of online reviews that are definitely, they got to be bots, because I saw so many people saying that this has a unique visual identity.
Like the 1,000 monkey typewriters Lex has?
Well, you'll explain that soon. Because this film doesn't have a unique visual identity to me at all. It was grey and blue and had some pops of colour, but it wasn't vibrant. This wasn't a comic book like people were calling it. This is just... this is an MCU movie, realistically. It's a good film. I liked it. It does have some dumb bits, but I don't think you'll care if you miss it, to be honest. I think you could wait for streaming.
I think this is an easy rec. I think it's the best Superman film since 78, which isn't saying a lot.
I'm not a big Superman fan, so I might even say this is the best Superman film, honestly.
Well, it's the most fun I've had with a Superman film probably ever, because I don't hold the 78 version in reference. So in a personal manner, yes, I would agree that this is probably the best Superman film I've seen.
But I still think you can wait for streaming.
A lot of people have brought a lot of expectation that, like, if it's not fucking a smash straight away, fuck this guy. It's like, we all love Batman Begins, but then Chris came back and took another bite and did The Dark Knight.
Definitely give James Gunn more attempts.
Yeah, I don't think there's superhero fatigue. I think there's Marvel fatigue. And I'm curious to where this balances out against Fantastic Four in 2 weeks.
Which is why I do wish this went a little bit stronger, because then it might make people go, oh, this isn't more Marvel. I think at the moment, you can pretty much be like, this is another superhero movie.
It's better than like any Marvel film I've seen in a good long while.
I like Thunderbolts more.
Fuck off. Nah, okay, let's get into this then. Nah.
Spoilers from here on out.
We're going deep in. This is our nitty-gritty opinions.
We're going as
now.
deep as you can into this movie.
We're going to split it open like Lex did.
Right down the middle. So you start as Superman crashes down. He whistles for Krypto to come get him, and Krypto is immediately a goofball. Yeah. So it does set the tone pretty early that this is not Man of Steel.
As a person who owns a kind of cavoodle mix like that, I can agree. Like, you've met my dog. He would be doing that if he had superpowers.
You lapped up every single dog moment.
Excuse me for loving dogs. Like,
the whole movie, the dog is a goofball.
If Zack Snyder did Krypto, it would be a one-eye Rottweiler that was abused in a pound,
and he would do as he's told. He would be a kill dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas in this, he's unruly. He doesn't do what he's told. He's a dog. And I think it's a much more interesting way to do Crypto. Crypto is dumb. Like, Crypto is a dumb idea.
Oh, it's a ridiculous idea,
So
but I love
making
it.
him the wild card, he's fucking Charlie Day sitting in the back of the van, ready to do anything, ruin half the plans. But Crypto takes Superman to the Fortress of Solitude.
Which is visually incredible. I wish we got to see more of its exterior and interior.
Yes, it's very underutilized internally. Externally, it does look very cool, though.
Grant Morrison, when he was talking about making it, was like that he has like a den, that like he's like such a guy in some ways, that like he has a cool little den he hangs out in.
It's the same problem we have with the TARDIS most of the time. It was under furnished. Like, it was really just a chair he sits on to recharge.
Yeah.
And a console that is a DJ booth at the end for some reason. We get K2SO walking around being a robot. I think it would have been fine if it wasn't Alan Tudyk and it wasn't robots being that kind of behavior done to death at the moment, because we're just off Andor season 2 as well.
How many people know Superman in some versions of the comics has robots? So in the first 5 minutes, if you haven't seen any trailers, you've got Superman robots going, "Let me help you, Superman."
He gets recharged, goes back to his fight because he's in a fight with the Hammer of Bulgaria, or the Hammer
of made-up country beginning with B.
Yes, we'll call it Country B.
Oh, and Marco told me that the dictator is speaking Serbian.
They're showing the globe and they're like, too inflammatory. There we go. He's in the middle of a fight with a supervillain. The fight's pretty good. It looks a little janky every now and then, but CGI flying is fucking hard.
Particularly when it's human skin.
Yeah, because the Hammer is in a full suit of armor. He looks fine. It's just Corin Sweat's face every now and then looks weird.
And James likes to, the whole, almost like the camera's on the character.
That's one thing we should mention. I didn't love the super wide angle flying.
Like the lens he uses and stuff?
Yeah, when it's right up in Corin Sweat's face while he's flying. I do love it later on when he's flying through time zones and you see the rain to the sunshine. That's cool.
We kind of got the preview of it with Will Poulter flying in Guardians 3 because it was very similar style.
Yes.
He gets back into the fight.
He doesn't win. He gets knocked down, and we get the first scene from the trailer where someone's helping him out of the thing.
Which I love, because that's the whole point, that he's meant to be this inspiring figure that makes everybody want to do better and be kinder.
I like how down-to-earth he is. I think it makes him much more interesting.
He's just Clark in a suit. I wish the film did even more of that. And I imagine there's plenty on the cutting room floor of him just being dorky Clark.
But we get the first really interesting bit for me, which I think worked really well, was the Hammer of Country B flies into the sky away from Superman, being like, hey, fuck you, Superman, stop interfering in our country's politics.
We're talking about like news stuff that basically in a few weeks prior, Superman interfered in a country's invasion of another country, which could be read, whatever. Plenty of countries invade countries.
For a long time now, yeah.
I'm sure when he was writing it, he was probably thinking about Russia and Ukraine when he was writing it. But Superman intervened. We don't see that.
And it's another problem with the movie where there's a lot of exposition. The Hammer then says, fuck you, Superman, flies off into the sky, lands relatively nearby, goes through a portal, goes through another portal, and then walks out into Lex Luthor's hideout.
Luthor Corp's main building, yes.
And Luthor was calling the shots during the fight.
Yes.
And we were cutting back and
calling
forth.
out the moves. He was running around going like 12B, 7C, and they're like, wow. And he's like, he studied all of Superman's moves, like all the audible, like...
Yes, we have to exposit that even though I'm seeing, obviously, Lex Luthor call out these Madden-style calls, they still need to say, wow, you're really good at this, Mr. Luthor. And he's like, yes, I studied Superman for years. And I'm like, it's too much for me. It was a good little twist that he's very obviously in this to kill Superman, and it's like he's putting people against it.
Yeah, they make you think it's going to be another real estate scam, but they twist on that. Because the joke being in pretty much almost every version of Lex Luthor, his plot has been to get real estate.
Yes, he wants half a country.
And makes it Luthor, like a Luthor-based name.
Euphoria or something.
Euphoria, that was it. Brilliant.
Then Superman suits down as Clark and walks into the Daily Planet. We get our only real Clark in the Daily Planet scene, where basically he's walking through and everyone's like, damn, Clark, your latest article's actually really bad.
Well, they all liked it, but she didn't. Lois didn't.
The sports guy said it wasn't good.
That's the problem, is that character Steve, the biggest Superman fan, but always rags on Clark.
Oh, so Slash Thompson.
Yeah, it's kind of it. It's just like a workplace bullying, like Clark the dork, and I'm the big, strong sports correspondent.
Okay. And then him and Lois flirt a little. I really enjoyed the Clark and Lois stuff, so it is a shame
perfectly cast.
They're only in 3 scenes together, realistically.
She doesn't even stay at the barn for like a little cool dance. This is where you live, huh?
Oh yeah, she just left. So he's in the Daily Planet for this scene with Lois. They have a bit of banter. Then they meet up later for the interview portion, which I think they released part in the trailer. And that is one of my favorite bits in the entire movie, because it's actually Clark being Clark, and then it's him showing his side of things.
Probably one of the longest scenes in the film, too.
We stay in one place. Basically, Clark's been doing the Spider-Man thing of interviewing himself.
So funny.
And everyone's like, how do you keep doing this? And he's like, oh, you know, I just do, I guess. But Lois, by this point, again, because when we're skipping all the intro, the origin stuff, Lois already knows that Clark is Superman, and they're dating for 3 months.
But like they probably had because he's been Superman for 3 years, but she wouldn't have interviewed him, because that's typically what it is that he interviews his Lois Lane. This is her first formal interview with Superman.
Which is a weird thing universe-wise, but here it's quite good because Clark never asks himself the hard questions, and I did enjoy the idea that Clark, he's basically a himbo. He's just a country boy that's big and strong, is a super nice guy, and he sees two people fighting and he won't let them fight anymore. He's just going to be like, stop fighting. He's not a dumb guy, but he's not a geopolitics genius, so he doesn't think about the ramifications. He's just like, I stopped the fighting, what's the problem? And obviously that's going to spiral out of control in the background. And Clark finally agrees to an interview with Lois, and he thinks she's going to go easy on him because they're dating, and he's just like mucking around really. But you see the shift when he sits forward, which is good, and he becomes Superman, drops his voice a bit, and it's showing why he thinks he can do these things. But Lois is asking real questions, which is probably the first time an investigative reporter in any show, TV, movie has actually been a good investigative reporter and isn't just a reason for them to be on the scene of everything that a superhero does. Like, I fucking hate Iris in the Flash TV show, because her whole reason for being is to like get to the crime scene and see the Flash and they smooch. But because they're already dating in this, they don't feel the need to make Lois important. She just already is doing her own thing.
I think Lois is maybe you're right, when I think about it, the highlight. When I think about the other versions of Lois, like, they did not know what to do with Amy Adams and like BVS or JLA.
Even Superman and Lois doesn't handle Lois overly well. Her reporting in Superman and Lois is everyone telling her she's a really good reporter.
Right.
Whereas in this, it actually feels like Lois is asking the correct questions, and he gives her some blowback of like, you know what I did is right. And she's like, well, I think that, but it's not an objective truth. She's like, she's trying to be a real journalist in an age where there aren't actually real journalists.
Yes. This world is so pre-established that it was working to a detriment of it. Is that I wanted a little bit more setup of things, because everybody's like, you all know Lex Luthor's evil, right? So I don't really need to stress too much about that. Yeah. So it's just this, when we get introduced to him, nobody has a cool opening shot. Superman falls to the sky half dead in this. Like, that's how he's established. And it's funny how it breaks those conventions in that sense.
That's going to be...
Superman's arc is fairly interesting.
Superman's attempt at an arc.
Yeah, like three moments in a film, 3 beats. Something that we saw 12 years ago with Man of Steel, which I didn't like. In that film, the Kents are anti him doing anything, and only when he finds his perfectly AI dad who can interact with him, he's like, oh, now I get it. Fuck my farm dad. It's Russell Crowe. He's the real dad.
Because he's the cooler dad.
He's the cooler dad.
It's Snyder and you're 13. He's the cooler dad.
So in this film, we see him fall. The dog picks him, drags him, robots. Bradley Cooper as Jor-El.
He likes to be reminded of his purpose.
And he only has the first half of the message, which translates to, you can look after them, be good, love you. And he just takes that, and he's even mouthing it with them, that's his purpose, that he then reinforces later, that's why I do what I do, because that's all I have. And at first I was like, you do what you do because you were raised by the Kents and you just think it's the right thing to do, which thankfully we get eventually.
But that's revealed as a twist almost, because Lex Luthor breaks into Fortress of Solitude, kills all the robots in an action scene that takes place.
Or farms.
He hacks the message, and his engineer figures out that it's actually a longer message, even though all these Kryptonian robots couldn't figure out.
Yeah, we've been told that he only has half the message, just know what the rest says.
Yeah.
So there's that longing of wanting to know where he's from.
And turns out Clark's a Viltrumite.
I'm sure there are versions of Superman all over the place where they are like saying, you must take over, but they say, what was it like? Take over the planet.
Lord over them, kill anyone that isn't helpful to you, and breed as many women as you can.
Obviously, you're there going, well, obviously Lex is bullshitting.
You see, I didn't view it as bullshit because of Invincible has happened like so recently, and that's its whole mission statement. So like hearing that they're just doing the Viltrumite, I think I was more disappointed.
But if they know that all they have to do is find some place plays with Yellow Sun,
Why
and then they
didn't
get
they?
to be gods.
It's so weird. I prefer him just getting shot into space and he ends up on Earth, like happenstance kind of deal. But it's meant to crush Clark's whole resolve and make him be like, oh, his world is falling apart because he believes so much in this message. But as we know, and as they touch on a little bit when the mum calls, his family is good. He's already a good person. So finding out that he was meant to be evil, but turns out he's actually good, it's meant to ruin him.
Yeah, and I also know he's good because he grew up in Smallville.
Yeah. He's just a generally
I saw 10
good
seasons
guy.
of that. Like, you know.
Good show. People go after female protagonists at the moment because they never really grow in their story. They more find out that they were good all along. Ironheart, because that just came out, she's being held down. She needs to believe in herself. Captain Marvel from MCU, she needed to believe in herself because she was powerful all along.
Yeah.
In this, Clark was good all along and just needed to remember that he was good all along.
He's good because of who he is, not because of what he thinks he needs to be.
Yeah, which isn't really an arc. I get what they're doing, but it doesn't actually change him in any way.
It's established that, you know, his mum and dad ring him. They're a bit older, which I like, and they're talking to the phone. Dad's like, don't be a stranger. On the one scene where he gets to go and be with his parents, it's him at the low point. He's with his mum and dad, and in one scene with his dad basically says, you're you because of, like, you know, parents meant to give you the tools and you're meant to go out there and fail and rise, and we love you and you're good because you're you, which is why Superman is fundamentally interesting. Is that he's a good guy.
You keep saying that's why he's interesting. I don't know if
Well, compare him to any other hero.
it makes him more different, yes.
In the last 10 years, having Superman just be Superman is more of the edgy choice than him being Omni-Man or Homelander or something.
So that's his arc, really, and it's not much of one, and it does feel us leaving a bit empty on this Superman, unfortunately. But yeah, and then we've got Lois's arc, which is not even really an arc either.
Well, it's about her realizing she loves Clark and wants to be with him. And
Yeah, which is just she thought she wasn't ready for a relationship, but turns out Clark is a cool guy, and she is.
the reason why Lex hates Superman is because Lex Luthor's meant to hate Superman.
Yeah, especially when Gunn can make me cry over a CGI raccoon. Like, the fact that he didn't grab me with these.
Look, as a film, The Suicide Squad is a better film.
Yes. I'd put this on the pretty low end of Gunn's movie.
Yeah, I really liked I was really impressed with The Suicide Squad and its opening. And then even after its big, wild opening, you have 10 minutes of Idris Elba, him with his daughter, those establishing moments that this does technically have.
Everyone in that movie, including Polka Dot Man, feels like he has more character than anyone in this one.
Because that's James Gunn's wheelhouse, is a scrappy team of sort of anti-heroes, which is when the Justice Gang, we feel a little bit more at home, potentially. So they're a whole other element, which I like. It's really cool to see a Green Lantern looking awesome. Like, this film does a good job of you going, when I saw in the trailer of him going, make a move, Big Blue. I was like, fucking, what are you talking about? But in this film, you're like, no, actually, Green Lantern he could give him a run for his money, and this Superman isn't fully. It doesn't feel like he's getting knocked about a fair bit.
They didn't make him feel it. Like, they made him invulnerable, but you can kick the crap out of him if you really try. The world turns against Superman because Lex releases that clip, and everyone believes it. They verified it. They make sure to tell us multiple times that it has been verified.
I'd imagine maybe feels a little bit personal since James Gunn had the Twitter sphere hate on him for a minute there.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's interesting. Yeah, so like one bad clip can ruin your entire life.
So this is a film in which we're talking about the political implications of Superman, but also as a story where Lex has his own private pocket universe where he stores ex-girlfriends and has 1,000 monkeys on 1,000 typewriters.
Yes.
Only this time it's there posting hate comments to Superman.
Yeah, is it too topical? I don't know, like how well will that age in 10 years versus other movies we've had?
It's him calling, like, a lot of people brainless monkey men.
Which is funny because the amount of reviews I've seen for this that are like completely shilling for it. I'm like, shit, were they monkeys? Oh no.
I think Nicholas Hoult seriously elevates a lot of his lines, for sure, which is what an actor's meant to do. So he brought a lot of emotion. Like, I believe that this guy purely hates Superman at like a core level of himself.
And it's enjoyable that he knows that. Like, it's not a big revelation.
He's so clever that he's aware of his own faults.
Yeah, and it's like, he's just human.
The idea that he just has that, I forget the woman's name, unfortunately, but the hot blonde, he just has her around because I'm a billionaire. We're meant to have hot blondes around.
The hot blonde girlfriend was weird to me, I think because of the 2007 Brandon Routh one where he has a bimbo girlfriend, and I'm just like, oh, we're doing this again.
And I think that would be something that someone would criticize as the reason why Lex Luthor's whole plan falls apart is because he allowed this hot blonde to just be selfieing wherever.
Yes.
She even went to the fortress with him.
For no reason, apart from the fact that she needed to know.
You think he would only have her around for like public appearances?
Because Lex doesn't like her. Like, Lex shows no sexual attraction to her, doesn't even like her. So I don't get it.
But apart from that, she's just in the corner doing her own thing. That I think it's meant to be that he just likes having a pet.
Yeah, but then also all of his stuff are pets. Because they'll pick up pencils when he knocks them over on the floor. So I just don't get that. Because he locks Superman in that pocket universe, Superman has to get out. Basically, he's being held by kryptonite.
Probably my least favorite, because when I was watching the film, I was like, I never imagined seeing Superman drowning in a kind of Minecraft river.
It did look like a Minecraft Rainbow Road.
As the one time I was like, I'm not quite enjoying this.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's also set up 30 seconds before it happens. Like, sure, we see it, but then Mr. Terrific and Lois Lane, who decide to come because we need them there, he looks down and says, oh, that's the Nether River. If you touch that, it'll be bad for you.
And I think it might turn off some people who are like, well, we're just starting here. It's like Iron Man is like just in the first Iron Man, we're just dealing with terrorists in the Middle East. And then by the time we get to like Avengers, we're chucking nuclear stuff through black holes. But we've built up to this.
Yeah, whereas this world, because it's so developed, there's black holes. And because that's the thing, Superman's about to fall into a black hole and then uses his ice breath to shoot himself away from it.
While he grabs his magic dog, yeah.
And holding onto a CGI baby, while Mr. Terrific is using one of the T-spheres to fly around. We should talk about Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific was really fun. He was very one-liney.
He's played somewhat like those blaxploitation 1970s like Shaft, or if you ever watched Black Dynamite with Michael J. White.
But like
a
self-aware.
little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah, so a self-aware version of that, where he's also a super genius. Done better than the Arrow version of Mr. Terrific.
Yes.
But he's fun to have in it. He really is just there because I think James Gunn liked writing him. Like, he's a bit of fun.
And he has a similar sequence to like Yondu with the arrows.
Basically, his Zenyatta from Overwatch. He's shooting orbs the way Yondu does the arrow. And it's like, it's a cool section, but again, it's not blowing my socks off. I'm not like, this is the coolest bit ever. I'm like, this bit fun. He does a needle drop, but it's like diegetic, so it works a bit better. So Superman escapes and then is damaged, goes to the Kent farm, has that little monologue we talked about earlier.
And then we're straight into the third act. They want him to be fighting Lex, but obviously you can't have...
Well, he gets the Lex suit, doesn't he?
Considering that they went to the effort to like have him clone Superman.
Spoilers! Going off the intro, I thought they were going to do the Lex suit because the Hammer of Country B is wearing a metal suit that I thought Lex would don at the end and then he would fight Superman, or there'd be something there. But the fact he's called Ultraman is the big mysterious guy in a big suit.
It's very Black Noir.
If you know what happens with Homelander in the comics in Black Noir, you know what happens with this. But also they call him Ultraman, which is what Superman from Earth 3 called himself, and he's evil Superman. Like, he's villain Superman. So it's like, if you know anything about this, that big reveal is ruined.
Yeah.
And if you know other media, like The Boys, that reveal is ruined. And also if you use kind of basic logic, that's obviously a Superman clone, especially when he starts using laser eyes.
It surprised me, I'll be honest, when it was revealed that it was a clone Superman. But then it's like, they did a good job because obviously, I mean, there's about, did you notice there's like 3 or 4 shots where he's going, Lex, and the camera emphasizes that Lex's voice.
Speaker.
They did that like 3 or 4 times. Like, I know how this communication is occurring.
Well, you know why they did that, because then you don't have to show CGI Corin Sweat, or you don't have to change him out of the makeup into the new guy. You can just use the stuntman you've got.
Fair enough. So they do that and make it that he's really fighting Lex, and he's not fighting this mindless clone that doesn't even speak or have emotions. It just simply follows instructions.
Yes, it is complete brawn, because they say brain beats brawn, but when brain gets brawn, he can kick the shit out of Superman.
And it gets sucked into the black hole, so we never have to think about it, but probably gets sucked into the Bizarro universe, which is what we're going to go for.
Every time it comes back, I do enjoy Lex doing the call-outs on how to beat up Superman, because Superman isn't a fighter. He's just really strong, whereas Lex is a genius, knows all this stuff, probably watched a jiu-jitsu YouTube video and was like, I get it. And then he can tell someone else how to kick the shit out of Superman.
He's meant to be the peak of human. Like, if Superman didn't exist, Lex would be the hero of the world. He's meant to be physically fit, as clever as they can be, but he sees Superman as this...
He's unattainable.
That it will make us lazy. It'll make us go, oh, Superman will just do it. So That's why he hates him. He hates him on a philosophical level.
Yeah, he hates everything about him, which is the fun part. It does make the ending devolve into a little bit of a Marvel, hey, here's a city-ending event because the pocket universe starts to open up. It's cracking through Metropolis. Superman is punching a CGI Superman, so it's them going.
Meanwhile, the Justice Gang stopping the potential like invasion.
Yeah, the Civil War goes on. It's so background, realistically.
But then it's revealed by Lex, which was kind of fun, that it's like, no, I don't want Euphoria. I did all that so I could get you.
Yeah.
I had to create a political situation in which killing you was acceptable.
Which is also a little strange because, like, I guess Luthor wanted to be loved by the people still. Like, he didn't want to be a villain because then they flipped the script at the end there and Lois Lane writes a hit piece on Lex Luthor showing how bad he really is, and then all the people realize that he's bad, and then his whole career is ruined because of a tweet. But then Superman punches other Superman really hard into a black hole and then coughs up his nanite genes because he crashed through the wall. You have to see that bit to make sense of it, really. He's getting infected by nanogenes, and then he flies down, and that somehow releases him.
Oh, because he knocks them out.
Yeah. What I thought they were going to do in that scene when the engineer is flooding his lungs with nanites, he was going to fly up to the sun and burn them off.
That's what I thought it was going to be. Then he was going to recharge.
Yeah, but instead, or like maybe even do the Iron Man, how he freezes up Ironmonger.
It's really far to get to the sun there, so.
It is, but he's quick. But basically, he wins that fight because he has to, more than I can put a finger on exactly why. Bit muddled, but they do exposit like, oh, this is why he's about to win, and then he wins. Yeah, Lex gets sent to prison.
After having his low-key moment. Very similar moment in which Lex is hitting another monologue, like, I'm a god, you foul creature. And then Crypto comes in and, like, whacks him around like a
literally
chew toy.
grabs him by the foot, flips him around. So I think that's a lot of problems with this movie for me, which is why I'd probably give it closer to a 7, because I've seen everything it's doing before, but it definitely wasn't bad.
It wanted to just do a solid Superman film to just build on.
But I don't want to reward it too much for that.
No.
So it's like, it's hard.
I think that's fine. And obviously things can be that deep, but like it is obviously a fun superhero film and it's got the right heart. It's not a soulless kind of like Deadpool and Wolverine was kind of soulless and just here's some cameos.
They were like, this is for
and
fun.
Give us a billion.
Yeah.
This feels like we want to actually like make you feel something. I had a few moments where I was like, oh, like there's like one of my favorite little bit was when he checks on everyone when he pushes the building off and checks everyone's good. I was like, there he is.
Yeah.
And I like that moment a lot. They get into Mr. Terrific's ship, the core Daily Planet team, and some guy. Basically, they are flying around in order to make sure they send the article out.
Yes, they don't want to get killed by the...
They don't get killed by the crack. And the joke's meant to be that Perry and everyone is relatively like, oh, here we go again. Another Superman battle in Metropolis. But for us, you're there going, but this... Surely you'd be reacting kind of strangely to this, that you're in Mr. Terrific's flying ship and Lois is flying you. And I think that was something that I think tonally this film might confuse some people. Like I'd imagine someone walking out going, it's just really dumb how they were just in that ship at the end.
Yeah, the people that are evacuating Metropolis because of the crack are doing it relatively slowly.
Yeah, or Lex Luthor being like, they go, what, he just has a weird pocket universe with monkeys on computers? Like it would weird someone out, potentially.
Yeah. The pacing might save it there where it moves so quick that maybe people won't take this movie in so much and just be like, that was pretty good. I'll see the next one.
Just have a fun ride. Yeah. And I will see the next one. It's so weird, but I want to see more character stuff. I want to see more of Clark and how this Clark interacts with the world. Considering it's going to be this worldwide problem and we have like Rick Flag Sr. and stuff, it really is a very just Metropolis. It's like a 3 or 4 major location movie.
Yeah, we don't leave our main characters' perspectives really ever. Character development-wise, this is probably on par with Jurassic World. Like, people don't really move from what they're doing.
Might be I don't think you're too far off.
But the characters are better to start with. Like, everyone's more charismatic in this. They're more likable.
James seems to, the film, I keep saying James, but he did write and direct it, seems to be a mix of We all know Superman, but then there's bits where he wants you to know this Superman, but not really. I really think a lot of this is trusting that you know Superman's deal.
Yeah, I think one of the major problems, to cap this off, is Superman is meant to be like very Clark Kent. He's just a good guy all the time.
It's just Clark in a costume going, oh.
Yeah, whereas we don't see Clark in this movie, really. So we don't see that Clark and Superman are the same because we never really see Clark.
The opening of The Batman, for me, scratched the itch. I was like, I just want to see, I want a monologue, I want the dirty Gotham, and I want him coming out the dark looking like... And Batman got that moment, and then the story began, and I went, we scratched the itch.
I get it, yeah.
We've actually set the stage. That film spends 5-10 minutes setting the stage. This film does not set the stage.
Yeah.
And I think that reverberated for me. So then by the end, it was like a butterfly wing. It actually affected more and more because we just didn't establish things quite as well as maybe we could have.
So after the discussion, are you still at an 8 out of 10? Did I lower you? Did you raise it?
No, I think this is a good to great film. Obviously, our rating system's pretty abstract. We've never sat down and actually discussed what this is. But I think the star ratings is cleaner for me. It's an above, if 3 is average, this is above average and it's enjoyable. Yeah, 3.5 to 4 stars.
Okay. I'd go with the 3.5. It's definitely not a bad movie, but there are a lot of things that I was like, Well, let us know what you guys thought, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.